breaking news. The New York Jets have just fired Joe Douglas. He's gone. He's gone, folks. Joe Douglas fired. Goodbye. The man who was brought here to build this roster, to build a Super Bowl contending team, is gone. Joe Douglas. Goodbye. I love Joe Douglas. I did. I really thought that he was a great GM. Or should I say, I thought he was going to be a great GM. That's what I kind of meant. I believed in Joe. And I'm not shocked by this at all, by the way. It's just, we all expected the Jets to kind of clean the house and start fresh next season. But I just remembered all of my first ever video of Jets media was breaking down Joe Douglas's timeline of success. He's gone, man. He's fired. That's crazy. Let me know your thoughts right now, Jets Nation, because they just fired Joe Douglas, and he is no longer with the New York Jets. A lot of people think that this was a bad decision because he wasn't the reason why the Jets have lost all these games. It's the coaching staff. Some people feel like they should have kept Joe. But the reality is this, folks. The Jets are going into a brand new coaching search. Joe Douglas went through a coaching search already, and he was the big reason why the Jets hired Robert Saleh. If the Jets want to find a new regime, they need to find a head coach and a GM pairing. So right when Saleh was fired, I knew that Joe Douglas was next. It was just a matter of when. This is also the last year of the contract, so you knew it was going to go. As good as Joe Douglas was in terms of drafting and building assets and doing all these things that we all thought would be positive, the record says what you are. And he was what? What's his record? Somebody in the chat remind me what his record is. Because I love Joe Douglas's vision. I felt like he was the right man for the job. He was somebody that I felt like was going to bring a winning culture to the team. But that's not the case. I really believed in Joe Douglas, man. I really did. 30-64 is his record. That's crazy. Because you look at what Joe Douglas did. When he got to the Jets, he completely... What was so good about Joe Douglas was he took all of the assets that the Jets had and flipped them for so much assets that they can use by trading away all these players. Jamal Adams for 2 first-round picks. You turn that into Garrett Wilson and Elijah Vera Tucker. There's a lot of good moves he's made. There's a lot of bad moves he's made. But the reality is the record is atrocious. And 5 straight seasons. When you bring in a new GM, you got to give him 5 seasons in order to allow it to officially become his team. And this season was the final year for Joe Douglas. You had 5 years to build this roster. You had development. You had draft class after draft class. You had all the pieces on this team right now are all Joe Douglas players. The only player that's not part of Joe Douglas's career was Quinnen Williams. But Joe Douglas extended him, right? Maybe there's a few other guys, but who cares? Majority of this team is Joe Douglas, and they're failing. So the reality is they got to fire him. It sucks because it really felt like Joe Douglas was the first sign of competence in the organization, of a football mind. He's a Super Bowl winning person and coming from Super Bowl winning organizations. Supposedly, he said he values the trenches. He tried his best to bring in offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and the defensive line was great. The offensive line stunk. We thought when he came here, we're getting a former offensive lineman. We're going to build the best offensive line ever. Not the case. He tried. It's not like he didn't attempt it. It's not like he ignored the offensive line. It's just the players that he brought in stunk and couldn't stay healthy. And he felt like he built a good enough roster to go after Aaron Rodgers, build this team around him, and it failed. And it failed, man. It's just a giant failure. This is just a giant failure for the New York Jets. And I just want to say, Joe Douglas, man, thank you for all your work. I appreciated you taking your time to talk to me at training camp this year. I really wish it worked out. I think every Jets fan does, man. Every Jets fan wish this worked out with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. When we hired Saleh and we had the pairing of Saleh and Douglas, we all thought that vision of those two guys, it could work out. All we need to do is find the right quarterback, and then that's the missing piece. When we brought in Saleh, remember, Jets fans at that time were excited. We got our GM, we got our head coach, now let's find a quarterback. And the Jets decided to draft Zach Wilson. And I think drafting Zach Wilson was right there the first mistake from Joe Douglas that came and bit him. right? And then he decided, okay, Douglas, now he realized Wilson's a bust. I'm going to trade him and try to right my wrongs and trade for a Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, because he felt like the roster he's assembled is good enough to win with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Not the case. Failure. Just a failure after failure, bro. Failure. Like, that's the word that I just keep coming over and over again, is failure. Because this team has had so much opportunities, failed. I don't know what the next step is. Now, we're not only looking for a head coach, we're looking for a GM, but let's all be honest with ourselves. We need to be able to figure out a way to hire a football op. And maybe we all overrated Joe Douglas. Maybe that's another option. Maybe we all overrated this roster. Maybe this team is not as talented as we think. But the reason why we say it's talented, because they got the accolades to prove it, right? We have 2 Rookie of the Years, Sauce and Garrett Wilson in year number 1. I mean, I don't want to go through the whole roster, but like, Joe Douglas was the GM for one of the greatest drafts we've ever seen as a Jets fan base, bringing in that core of Brees, Garrett, Sauce, and Jermaine Johnson. That was an absurd draft. And that's supposed to be the core of our team. Jermaine went down for the season this year. Sauce Gardner has regressed completely. Garrett Wilson is a superstar right now. And Brees is playing good. But at the end of the day, those are the 4 guys that Joe Douglas brought in, was supposed to be the core of this team. And now here we are. There's other, roster moves that was not good by Joe Douglas. And now here we are. He was also a GM that brought in a lot of injury-riddled players that did not help. But, chat, you guys let me know how you're feeling. Because I feel like this is a move that a lot of people are like, okay, and guess who made this move? Guess who made this decision? Woody Johnson. How do we fire him? How do we fire Woody? Because that's who deserves to be fired. Flick Short to the super chat says, only wish our owner would do this to screw you, Tua. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, Flicks. Can we say that injury kicked his moves in the ass? Yeah, I mean, injuries did not help Joe Douglas. But at the end of the day, the good GMs are able to find depth, and the injuries are not the reason why you stink. The good GMs can use injuries as an advantage to like get the depth. But I think there's also something that needs to be talked about here, is that the coaching staff failed Joe Douglas. But at the same time, Joe Douglas is the one that chose this coaching staff. So it goes both ways. If you want to blame the coaching for the reason why this team has sucked, you got to also realize that Joe Douglas is the one that hired this coach. Not the one, but he was part of the interview process. So at the end of the day, I feel like this is just an ultimate failure. When Saleh went down, next up was Joe Douglas. It was a matter of when. But now who the question is, who the heck is going to be in? Now, I don't know who the active GM is now. That really doesn't even matter, because we're hiring a new GM and a whole new regime in the offseason to reset this team. But now, like, what does this mean for Aaron Rodgers, bro? Rodgers came here and just became a giant nuclear bomb. It blew up the entire team. This blew up the entire team. Like, Rodgers came here, and the hope and stuff that we had with Saleh and Douglas is now failed. They put all their eggs in the Rodgers basket, and it blew up in their face. That's really the reality of it. So, folks, hit the like button, subscribe to Jets Media if you're new. We have some breaking news that the Jets have fired their GM. It just doesn't end. It doesn't end. I would appreciate if you guys can simply hit the like button. Do me a favor. Hit the like button right now. On your way in, at least get this up. We got over 550 people live watching and not even 100 likes. So do me a favor. Hit the like button right now and subscribe to Jets Media, man, because the Jets have just fired Joe Douglas. And now we are about to go into a completely different organizational direction in the offseason. And I really hope that the Johnsons can open up their minds to the idea that they have no idea how to run a football team. They're good businessmen, I'll give them that, but they do not know how to do it. Therefore, they should, this is what the Johnsons got to do, folks, hire a football president and let that man be the one to hire the next GM and head coach. That's it. That's it. That's what needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, then I think we're just going to go back into another spinning cycle of 3 or 4 years from now. We're going to fire the next GM and head coach, because we need our organization to change. We need somebody in charge of this building. And my dream is Pete Carroll. That is a pipe dream. I have no idea if there's any chance that can happen. But if I'm the Johnsons, bro, I'm calling Pete Carroll, making him a godlike offer to come in here and be the head of football operations and have Pete Carroll go out there, pluck some coaches out of Seattle, pluck some coaches around the league that he hand chooses, pluck some GMs, and build a front office, build a coaching staff. That's what this team needs, bro. Somebody that is a football mind that gets it. The Johnsons don't get it. And if we go through this coaching search and Woody Johnson hires a head coach, hires a GM, and abandons us and goes to the UK all over again, what are we going to do? We need to hire basically an active owner. That's basically what a head of football operations is, because Woody Johnson is making football decisions and it's not good. There's not one football decision Woody Johnson has made that's good. He's acting off desperation. Did we all want the Jets to trade for Aaron Rodgers at the time? Yes, we did. We wanted it to happen. Did we all want Woody Johnson to trade for Devontae Adams? I did. I wanted that to happen. Did I want Woody Johnson to fire Robert Saleh? No, I did not want him to do that at the time that he did it. Now he's firing Douglas. So the Johnsons need to put their ego aside and recognize that we are a phenomenal, business brains. That's who the Johnsons are. They inherited Johnson & Johnson, and they have all this money, and they operate, the Johnson & Johnsons and the New York Jets organization and whatever else they do. They need to put their ego aside and realize we're maybe just not that good at building football teams. So let's hire the guy that could build a football team. Because if that's what needs to happen, if you're the Johnsons, they want to win. And I'll give Woody Johnson this credit right here. He cares. He wants to win. I can tell. But all the moves he's making to try to help this team win is failing. So if you want to abandon us and go to the UK again, hire somebody that's going to take the role of this team, and do not leave us with your incompetent brother, Christopher Johnson, again. Because if Woody Johnson leaves us with Christopher Johnson, and that's the man who's leading everything, and we have a structure of the GM and the head coach reporting up to Christopher and Woody Johnson all over again, then we're just in the usual incompetence of the organization. It starts upstairs, bro. It always starts upstairs. And I always like to compare the New York Knicks as a perfect example, because Jim Dolan was an incompetent owner and he sucked, and every Knicks fan wanted him to sell the team. But what Dolan did was he put his ego aside and he hired the right man for the job to be the head of basketball operations, to operate as the active owner. Leon Rose came into the building. Leon Rose handpicked Tom Thibodeau as his coach. And now look where the Knicks are. They're relevant. They're winning. They're going to the playoffs. I mean, I don't want to bring up the Mets as an example, because that one was what we all want, which is the owners to sell the team. That's not happening. So that's what the Jets got to do, bro. They need to put their ego aside and hire a football op. They gotta fire a football op. Leon Rose was able to come into the Knicks and be the head of basketball operations and build a winning culture. Because with Dolan making the shots, that wouldn't happen. Woody Johnson needs to do that. I don't know who it is. Leon Rose was an agent. Maybe there's an agent out there that can run this football team. I don't know. And the Knicks is an irrelevant comparison because it's a New York market. It's a big city. It's not easy to turn an organization. The Knicks have been trash. No playoff appearances for years and years and years and years and years and years. And then somebody came in here to establish a new culture. Are the Knicks championship winners? No, they're not. But they're relevant. They're in the playoffs. They're not incompetent. They're not imbeciles like they were with Dolan in the past. So this is up to the Johnsons. Ideally, we become the Mets. And what that means is we have new owners come in, or become the Washington Commanders. New owners come in. That's the dream, but that's not happening. That's not happening. They're not selling the team. So that's what we got to do, man. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that are already talking about who the next GM and head coach is. We're going to talk about that. We got a long way to go before we hire our new guys. Flicks, I meant we should have fired Mike and Greer. Hate Tua. I got you. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, come on, man. Tua's a dog, bro. You're going all the way. Why do you hate Tua? Why do Dolphins fans hate Tua? I thought he's a dog. I thought he was elite. Barney with a $5. Every move Woody has made since Rex has made the franchise worse. This won't be any different. I hope Trump sends him to Siberia. Sell the team. Barney, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Everybody give Barney some dono hype. I don't know. I really felt like Joe Douglas was like the best football mind, the best Jets mind we've had in a long time. I really, really thought that. I thought that he had a forward-thinking personality. He always thought into the future. He always maintained cap flexibility. He always wanted to have capital in case of drafts. Like trades presented itself. He was solid in the draft. I'm not going to say he was perfect. He had big hits in free agency. He had busts in free agency. He's obviously not perfect. But he wasn't atrocious. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, like, what to think anymore. I really thought Joe Douglas was the guy. I mean, this isn't shocking. At this point, I'm not shocked by this. But I just remember myself years ago when Douglas got hired and we saw what he did for the first few years and drafting these players and doing all these things. Now, we're going to have a new... I hope you guys realize what's next. I just want to break down what's on the horizon, Jets fans. This is what's on the horizon. We're going to have a new regime come in and evaluate the entire roster. So I'm going to invite every Jets fan to do something that's going to be difficult. For some, it'll be difficult. For some, it may not be as difficult. We need to remove ourselves from these players because now every single player is going to be tradable. Our favorites, the guys that we felt like could be Jets for life, are now going to be on the trade block. All right? So that puts Garrett Wilson in jeopardy. I don't want that to happen. Extend Garrett Wilson. Sauce Gardner. Breece Hall, like everybody. Quincy Williams. Like every great player on the team that we have, just remove yourselves, Jets fans, and prepare for them to be traded. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that everyone's getting traded, but when there's a new regime going to come in, they're going to evaluate the roster, they're going to keep the dogs, and they're going to wipe the soft-minded people that did not, value their team. So I think that this team, I still believe they have talent. I still believe there are stars on this team, not fully. So it's up to this new Jets regime and new Jets front office to come in here, evaluate the good, keep that team, get rid of the old, add new guys that fits the new mindset, the new culture, and now we move from there. First thing I do in the offseason if I'm a new GM is extend Garrett Wilson. That's the first thing because this is a league in today's NFL where you need to have a premier talent at wide receiver. And I want Garrett Wilson to be our Jamar Chase, our number one guy. And no, I'm not saying he's as good as Jamar Chase, but I am very confident that Garrett Wilson is good enough to be our number one for the future. I am. That's the one guy I want to keep forever. We're about to enter a rebuild, but the rebuild can be expedited. If we hit on the coaching staff, and the big question is the quarterback next year. I mean, the big question is who the heck is our quarterback? Is Aaron Rodgers coming back or is he not? Is this regime going to come in here? That's the big question I have for you guys. What coach and GM is going to want to come to this team that has Aaron Rodgers at the end of his, I don't know. I have no idea. Are the Jets going to fire Aaron Rodgers next by cutting him? Is that what's on the horizon too? That could be a possibility. Even if Rodgers doesn't want to retire, what if the Jets are like, yeah, Rodgers, we failed with you, so we're cutting you. Right? Say Rodgers wants to come back, and the Jets are like, yeah, we don't want you to come back. The Jets could cut him and eat his dead money. You can't trade him because no one's going to want him. So the Jets could cut Aaron Rodgers, and then maybe they go into next season with Tyrod Taylor as our starting quarterback. We draft the QB in the draft, and then we have Tyrod Taylor as the bridge with Jordan Travis and a young guy behind him. Or say Rodgers does stay, and he is that stopgap quarterback next year. I just don't know how Aaron Rodgers can pair with a brand new regime where Rodgers is very particular. At this stage of his career, he needs things his way, and his ways has just failed So I don't know how Rodgers can justify going up to the Johnsons and say, hey, give me one more chance. I need it my way. Bring in my guys. Your guys has completely failed. Your system has been a joke. Like, the Jets need to have a retooling season next year. We need to go in, draft a QB. And I think Tyrod Taylor is the perfect guy next season to be our Jacoby Brissett. Right? The New England Patriots, they drafted Drake May. They signed Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was the bridge quarterback for their rookie. Because the last thing I want is to draft a QB and have him start week 1. We don't need to go through that one again. We don't. And I'm not saying start Tyrod Taylor next year thinking we're going to go to the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. No! We need a rebuild. And there's a chance that the rebuild may not be as long because it's not like this team is like just depleted with talent. That's not the issue. This team is depleted with a culture, with a mindset of winning. That's what they need. So if we can get the right people to come in here and instill that mindset, look at what the Chargers are right now. The Chargers are different because they have their quarterback and Justin Herbert. But what the Chargers was they were talented on paper. They couldn't get over the hump because they lacked coaches. They went out there, brought in Harbaugh, and Harbaugh changed everything right away. That is a program builder, a winning coach. Now, again, we don't have Justin Herbert. We don't have a young, promising franchise quarterback like the Chargers did. But that just shows you what happens when you get the right coach. Things can change right away when you have talent on the team. Look at the Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn, first-year head coach. They drafted their new quarterback. He starts week 1. But they also got new owners. They're great right away. You look at Houston Texans, brand new coach, rookie quarterback. There are examples that it works. There's also examples when it doesn't work. If I'm the Jets and you want to get your new quarterback, I hope they do not start in week 1 because we did that with Sam Darnold, it failed. We did that with Zach Wilson, it failed. So if the Jets want to draft a quarterback, they need to have a veteran start. Whether they start week 1 to week 5, or I don't know. I just don't want to throw a rookie out there right away. Jetpack says, season going exactly as we all expected. Yeah, this is exactly what we all expected. 100%. We all expected it. This is what we all expected, right? Damn it! Jalen Milroe might be the next quarterback. I don't know. I hope. I mean, he could be. I think you can argue he's the 3rd best quarterback in the draft, 3rd or 4th best. I mean, we got to dive deep into the quarterback prospects now, chat. Hello, darkness, my old friend. We're back to evaluating quarterbacks in November. I can't believe. Oh, my God. I almost just went on a rant. I almost just started yelling. Because I can't believe we're back, bro. How do we get back here? How do we get back here? Look at that 4-time MVP up to an extension. Lock that 4-time MVP up to an extension. That's what he said. Nah, I'm good. Thanks for the super chat, though. So, yeah, Jets fans, definitely prepare yourself for all the players on this team that you love that could be fired. I'm sorry, to get traded. All right? This is the beginning of the end, basically. This is the beginning of a new era. Sauce could be traded. I don't want them to trade these players, by the way. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just preparing myself for the inevitable. I'm preparing myself. I just don't know where they go from here. Who is the right man that's going to come in here? Please, for the love of you-know-what, just come here and... Oh, my God. Hit the like button, chat. Do me a favor. We got over 700 people live reacting to this news. Not even 200 like buttons smashed. Smash the like button. Subscribe to Jets Media, man. Let me know your thoughts in the chat right now. Oh! What have we done? What have this team done to us? That we, like... I can't believe, like, all my content this offseason is going to be about a new coaching search, a new GM search, everything. I hate doing that. Do you know how badly I want continuity? All I wanted when we hired Saleh and Douglas, I remember saying on this channel so many times, can this please be the head coach and GM pairing for the next decade plus? Nope. It's not. Here we go again. Back to square one. So I'm going to say it again. Whoever we bring in to be our next head coach and GM, can this please be the guys for the next 10 plus seasons? Like, why is it so hard to find continuity, man? To find the right man for the job. Do you realize how bad you are as an ownership to just keep hiring people and firing them every 4 years? Every 4 years. Rex Ryan succeeded. The last coach to succeed with this team was Rex Ryan 14 years ago. And then they go out there and hire Todd Bowles, who failed. His best season was 10 wins and didn't make the playoffs. Fired him after 4 years. Then they were imbeciles to hire Adam Gase for 2 years. And then they hire Robert Saleh. Another 4 years. Like, why can't we get the guy to be here for the long run? And Todd Bowles, by the way, I think is a proof that he's a good coach somewhere else. Not here, though. Not here. So ridiculous, man. I don't know who's next. This is tough. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? And I'm really curious to see, like, is Joe Douglas, like, is the next owner, next owner, I wish. Oh, my God, right? Is the next GM going to want to keep Aaron Rodgers? Oh! That's how I feel right now. I've been standing after a long walk. By the way, I was on a live stream on a walk with you guys when this news broke. I ended the stream. Right as I end the stream because the connection was off, I get a call from my buddy. And my buddy is Wardy NYM. If you guys are Mets fans, you guys know Wardy NYM. He's the #1 Mets content creator. Every single time my boy Tyler Wardy calls me, I know there's something breaking happening. I answer it. He's like, go live. Jets just fired Joe Douglas. I was like, wow, I was just live. On a walk. I got to run back to the apartment now. Oh, brother. You can't even make it up. So, you can't. Oopsies. Sorry. Now, look at Joe Douglas's face. I just messed up the graphics. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. But chat, you guys let me know how you're feeling. Like, what is going through your mind if you're a Jets fan? Also, I'm also curious. Let me know which fan you represent in the chat right now because I know there's a lot of non-Jets fans watching, and I'm curious how many. So if you're a non-Jets fan, let me know right now. How many people in the chat are not Jets fans? What team you repping in the chat, man? Because I feel like the Jets have been this team that a lot of fan bases really enjoy watching the downfall of. Is that true? You guys just love watching our downfall? You guys love watching our downfall. I don't blame you. It's pretty hilarious, right? Pretty entertaining. Huh? Is this entertaining to you? Watching me be miserable. You guys enjoy this. We have 700 people live tuning into a show about the Jets breaking and firing everybody. I haven't checked X. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to check Twitter right now to see what's going on. I don't know what the reaction is. I'm just been live with you guys. Jamal Adams tweets, all jokes aside, I really hope the Jets organization can get it right. The organization and fan base deserves to win. Damn. Jamal Adams taking the high road. Jamal Adams followed me on X a few weeks ago, by the way. So you can tell that he wants to right his wrongs with the Jets. I remember meeting Jamal Adams in person at a restaurant, and when he was a Seahawk, and he said that he loves the Jets. I know everybody hates it. I know everybody hates him. I get that. I'm not saying we should love him, but interesting. Albert Breer says, some more for Halloween night on the issues with the Jets building. There are some people who've worked there who feel like what's said on the internet influences decision-making. Non-football people have big voices. Those who've tried to change it run into stuff constantly. What did I just read? And this is something. This is a big deal, folks. Let me just really read what I just wrote. Did I just read that? Did I just read? Okay, let me break something down. I need to really hold on one second. So there's a really big issue here. You know what the issue is? And I feel like it's an issue, but also fans should be feeling somewhat heard. The Jets fan base, it has a voice. This ownership is so tapped in to what the internet says about the Jets that they make decisions based off of what we have to say. According to Albert Breer, he says, there are people who've worked there who feel like what's said on the internet influences decision-making. Non-football people have big voices. Those who've tried to change it run into this stuff constantly. So Douglas tried to change it. This isn't like, bro, I've been saying that. That's the culture that the Johnsons have. They're so tapped in to the internet and what people like me have to say and what everybody like you in the chat has to say and what the NFL media on ESPN and NFL Network and all those shows, everything. Whenever there's a narrative about the Jets, the Johnsons are listening and they try to appease the internet and the narrative instead of focusing on what needs to happen, which is winning football games. Winning cures all. This is awful to hear. It's not a good thing. The whole fan base wanted new uniforms. They gave the Jets fans new uniforms. Thanks. I saw a lot of people say fire Robert Saleh to start off the season. I have a theory that Woody Johnson saw so many of you guys in the chat, so many of Jets fans on Twitter spam on social media, fire Saleh, fire Saleh, fire Saleh. He saw the fans say that. He saw the internet scream and spam, fire Saleh, fire Saleh, fire Saleh. And then Woody Johnson's like, oh, okay, the fans want me to fire Saleh. Should I fire Saleh? You know what? Yeah, I'll fire Saleh. Now, that has nothing to do with if firing Saleh was the right or wrong move. My point is, I think this ownership is tapped into the internet so much that we have a voice, chat. And if we have an ownership that is listening to the fans, we're doomed. We're doomed, man. This team cares so much about what the outside says. So much. The team cares. They care about the narrative. They focus more on what's said outside the building. So now I invite everybody to spam sell the team, and maybe he'll actually realize, okay, everybody wants me to sell the team, I will. I don't know what else to say. But that is so ridiculous, if that's true. By the way, I don't know if that's true, but that's what people are saying. Josina Anderson says, leak source on Joe Douglas' departure for the Jets. Quote, it's for the better. He was probably miserable. The man was dead man walking, so move on. It's true. I mean, if you're Douglas and you're showing up for work every day, you're like, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm gone, right? This is great for Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is going to be a GM somewhere else. Promise you that. When Dolphins fire Greer, he'll be hired by the Jets. No, he won't. No, he won't, Teddy. You know why we enjoy this? Your fan base talks so much stuff in the offseason. Y'all couldn't stay humble. Y'all talk so much mess on the Bills. Now look at y'all. Yeah. Look at us. Look at us, man. We are a miserable mess. Good luck watching this fan base rise up again from this. All right, we have a statement from Woody Johnson. Let's see what Woody Johnson had to say. Let's see what Woody Johnson had to say. Today, I informed Joe Douglas he would no longer serve as a general manager of the New York Jets. I want to thank Joe for his commitment to the Jets over the last 6 years, and I wish him and his family the best moving forward. Phil Savage will be the interim general manager for the remainder of the season. We will begin the process to identify a new general manager immediately. No. See, I'm already upset. You should not be looking for a new GM. You need to find somebody else to find the new GM, a head of football ops. That's what you got to do. He's not going to do it, man. I know it. He's not going to do what everybody wants him to do. Joe's contract was up. Woody fired him, so he couldn't say I quit. Really punk-ass move, in my opinion. Woody sold the team. Yeah, I mean, Douglas's contract was expiring, so all they needed to do is just not extend him, and then he would have. So, pretty shameless stuff. And now, yeah, we have Woody Johnson starting the process. Oh, my God. Who are the people? Is Phil Savage involved in that GM search? Who the heck is going to be involved in this GM search? Woody Johnson? Nobody trusts you. Nobody trusts Woody to make this move. Oh, my God. This is so pathetic. All right. I just shed a tear. Like, this is what we thought we were getting. These two bald men succeeding together. They're both gone. Look at that, man. We all thought that was going to be our duo. Look at that. That's a sad video. What could have been if those two worked out? What could have been? The Jets just... I don't know what's next. Someone in the chat tell me what's next, man, because I'm questioning everything. By the way, the Jets have a chance to get the first overall pick, by the way. The Jets have the chance to get the first overall pick. You guys think that's a chance? We actually have a chance. How about it? The Jets are in the race for the first overall pick, bro. And I'm not making it up. Tankathon.com. Woo, we're back. We're back to Tankathon.com. How beautiful is it? The Jets have the 7th overall pick. And they are one game out of that first pick. One game out. That's crazy. That game against the Jaguars is going to be everything. I mean, the Jets obviously have to lose out for that to happen to get the first overall pick. But we all know the Jets are going to win meaningless games. Right? We know that. We know that the Jets are going to win meaningless games to... We're probably going to pick probably around where we are right now, I think. 7. I think the Jets are going to pick between 6 and 10. Because let's be honest, the Jets don't have what it takes to tank and lose. They don't. So, 3-8. But that's where we're at, man. Maybe the Jets will be aggressive and trade up. I don't know. It's just so ridiculous that I'm on Tankathon.com right now. I don't want to be on tankathon.com. I don't. But I am. But I am. Let's go. Guys, Shadur Sanders is not coming to the Jets because Deion Sanders is going to veto that immediately. Why would Deion Sanders allow his son to come here? Shadur Sanders is not coming to the Jets. You guys hear what Deion said? He is going to pick where his son goes. He's not going to let his team, man. It's a fact. I just don't know. I don't know what to say. And now we have a bye week, which is refreshing. And then now we have all of the games ahead of ourselves that, what are we going to watch? Aaron Rodgers just like go out there and be like, oh, I'm old. I mean, like, bruh. I don't know. Everyone wants Cam Ward. The Jets are not going to get Cam Ward unless they really lose out or they trade up for him. We're not going to be in a position to draft him. I think Cam Ward is probably going to be like a Titan or a Giant. That's where Cam Ward's going to go. Probably. Unless Cleveland gets that pick. They'd be smart to get him. Right? The Patriots don't need a QB. I mean, the teams that are at the top, if you look at the Tankathon again, the teams that need a quarterback. I mean, Jacksonville just extended Trevor Lawrence, so I'd be shocked if they drafted a quarterback, but you never know if they really don't believe in Trevor Lawrence anymore. Tennessee needs a QB. Cleveland, they still got a lot of money in Deshaun. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'd draft a quarterback if I was Cleveland. The Giants need a quarterback. Vegas needs a quarterback. And then you have the Jets. The Patriots don't need one. Let's go, man. We have Kyle yelling at me. We don't develop QB. Stop talking about Cam Ward and those guys so we can draft them, but they need to sit for a year or two. I'm very confused. We don't develop quarterbacks. Stop talking about Cam Ward and those guys so we can draft them, but they need to sit for... I want them to draft Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders or any of these top quarterbacks and let them sit for a year. That's what I want to do. So why do I... And first of all, just because we failed to develop quarterbacks in the past, does that mean we just give up? I'm so sick of people like, oh, dude, the Jets would be idiots to draft a quarterback. We don't develop quarterbacks. Why would we draft a quarterback? We don't develop them. All right, so let's just give up, I guess, right? Let's just give up. Let's just give up drafting QBs because we've never done it before. What are we doing? I want the Jets to, if I was a GM, this is what I would do. I'd trade up for my quarterback. I'd cut Aaron Rodgers. I'd have Tyrod Taylor as our starting QB next year. Or if Aaron wants to be, I don't know. I can't. That's a whole other thing. Tyrod Taylor or Rodgers, the stopgap, bridge QB. We have them play. We have our rookie QB and Jordan Travis as our number 2 and number 3. And we go into a season with kind of a retooling, resetting, recalibration, establish a new mindset, establish a new culture with this brand new coaching staff, brand new regime. And then hopefully the guy that we draft becomes our guy. That's what I would want. I love Jordan Travis, but we can't go into next season with him as the only young option. There's no way. I like Jordan Travis. But he has not done anything to prove to go into next season as the only young prospect. We need to go into the season with a young prospect and Jordan Travis. We need 2. We need 2. Because what do we do with Aaron Rodgers? Like, I really want to talk to him. I really would love to pick his brain, man. Like, what is Rodgers' mindset? What makes him want to keep playing? Right? Like, if you're Aaron, what is motivating you to still want to play after this season? He committed to 2 years after that Achilles, but this year has gone so south. So south, bro. And I think maybe it's pride. He doesn't want to go out like that. He doesn't want to go out with having a season like this. I don't know what it is. Oh, my God. It's pissing me off. Another super chat. If Rodgers does come back, he needs to start attending camp to develop some continuity with the offense. Oh, he was at camp. He did not miss one practice. This narrative is so annoying because, give me a break. The guy missed 0 days of training camp. 0. He missed 2 days of mini camp, which is basically OTAs with no pads. He was 100% in OTA, and I don't even want to go into this because then it sounds like I'm defending Aaron. But like the people that are so upset that the guy missed 2 days of OTAs of no pads, but he was 100% attendance in training camp when that's really what matters, is nuts to me. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to expand on that. All right. Who we getting at GM, folks? You guys let me know. Who's your hot GM candidate? Who are we hiring? Who are we hiring? Come on now. Who are we hiring? Are we going to bring in the Lions GM and the Lions coaches? Huh? What are we going to do? Come on now. Gruden. John Elway. Who do you guys want? Pete Carroll is my dream. Right here. This is my dream right now. Agnew from Detroit. Chris Greer, no thank you. Todd Monken. Mangini. I heard somebody say Curtis Martin. Man, this is tough. Appreciate you, man. 49er fan here. Love your work. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. I'm down for Connor Rodgers. I trust his vision. Howie Roseman. Who wants to be the active GM of this team? That's another question we got to ask ourselves. Who would actively want to go out of their way to be a damn. Craziness. What do we do from here, folks? The Jets fired Joe Douglas, man. He's gone. Not shocked, but the big question is, where do we go from here, man? Who's next in the carousel of the New York Jets? Guys, can we get to 300 likes? Do me a favor. Smash the thumbs up button. We got 285. Let's get to over 300 likes. Hit the sub button if you're new. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Oh, boys and girls, tuning in. This is going to be a really insane offseason, bro. I was hopeful that we're not going to have to go through another offseason like this, but we are. Now we have to go through and hope for the best. Hope that this team can resolve their incompetence of hiring the wrong people and bringing the right guys. Like, I want the Jets to get Pete Carroll as our football op, but he's at his stage of his life. Does Pete Carroll want to take on that responsibility? Probably not. Definitely not. And everybody that mentions Bill Belichick, he is not coming here to work with the Johnsons. That's for sure. Like, that's another thing, bro. Like, what football mind that's intelligent is going to trust to come to the Jets because of the Johnsons being the owners? That's something that we need to start realizing. Like, what intelligent football coach or intelligent football GM would want to come here knowing that the Johnsons is going to be breathing down the neck of this team the whole time? The Trucker Dad Fish, $5. I'm a Dolphins fan. You guys should look at Louis Riddick. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's been a hot GM candidate for a while. I got to do more research on his ability. I feel like Louis Riddick would be interesting. I wouldn't be opposed, but I'm open to all things. I'm open to all opportunities, man. I'm not closed on one specific person. I'm open to hearing any type of person that's be the best for the job. Like, who wants to come here? That's what I want to know. Who wants to come here? And, like, do people actually... Can I ask you guys this? Like, do you guys actually want Rex Ryan? Like, what... Like, do people really want Rex Ryan here? Like, is that an actual thing, or is that just like a meme, bro? Because, like, I don't want Rex Ryan. And why do people want him? I don't get it, man. It's like, just because he's on ESPN criticizing the Jets and saying, like, oh, I know what to do. I would do this. I would do that. Bro, Rex Ryan was a failure after he went to the championship with the Jets. Went to the Buffalo Bills and failed there. The guy has been in media for a reason. Stop asking to bring back Rex Ryan. We don't need that. We need new energy, not old. Oh, dude, I would hate that. But why do I feel like the Jets would do that? And like I said earlier, guys, prepare. Every single person on the roster is now up for trade. Everybody. Everybody. Unfortunately, guys, all the players that we've grown to love, all the players we bought jerseys for are all up for trading in the offseason. Go, man. Let's go. My boy with another $5. Thank you, man. Appreciate the super chats, man. I personally think Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson for coach, and Reddick for GM. Great content, by the way. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the $5 super chat, my brother. Appreciate that. I think Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are the two guys to really look after. I really, really do. And, man, just want to say thank you for the $5. Didn't mean to attack you a little bit about the whole attending training camp. All love to you, brother. I think that these are the two hottest names, but out of the two, I think Mike Vrabel is somebody that is just interesting because he's been a coach before and he kind of has that, like, tough guy mindset. Ben Johnson would be awesome, too, because he could be that next upcoming offensive mind. But would he want to come here, man? Thank you so much for the super chat. Great show. Pete Carroll would be a good GM upgrade. I would love that, man. Would love that, Joshua. Please, Pete, come back home. Come back home, Pete. You have unfinished business here. Brian Flores, a lot of people are talking about as well. That's interesting. Like, I don't really know if I'd want Brian Flores. Now, I could be convinced. I could get behind it. But I don't want another former Dolphins head coach. I don't. I don't want another Dolphins failure. I don't. We did it once. I don't want to do it again. Can we go offensive mind this time? Offensive mind. We failed the Gase, but let's do it again. Aaron Humphrey says, Richie, your rants probably got Douglas fired. All right, I guess I did it, Aaron. You're right. You know what? I think Woody Johnson's watching Jets media, and he heard me rant, and he's like, yeah, Richie's right. Even though I never said on the rants to fire Douglas, but yeah, probably. If the reports are true that the team cares more about the internet than the... Oh, God, dude. What a... I don't know, man. I think Aaron Glenn is a good option as well from Detroit. He got interviewed last time around, I believe. What about Joe Brady? He got interviewed last time around, I believe. No Flores, no Rex, offensive mind with experience. Yeah, I would love an offensive mind with experience too, man. I would. Absolutely would. I would appreciate it. Buffalo Bills fans do not like me bringing up Joe Brady as an option, huh? Hey, man, just so you know, it's a good thing when you are that good of a team where your offensive coordinators and your defensive coordinators get hired as head coaches like Brian Daboll did. Even though Brian Daboll is failing, and he's probably going to get fired. Listen, man, if Joe Brady gets interviews for head coaches, he could be gone. So, just saying. Must be nice. That's your biggest concern. Oh, man. I'm really upset with the overall stance of my football team. Just like every Jets fan should. At the end of the day, we built this team up just to be miserable. 7 games left of the season. Chat, what's your predictions? Where do the Jets go in the 7 games? 0-7? 1-6? 2-5? We winning out to ruin the draft stock? What are we doing here? We beating the Seahawks in 2 weeks? What's the chat say? Are we going to start winning meaningless games? Like, this team, like, what do you think the mindset is of the players now? Like, completely, like, we're going to see such a bad product. We have been seeing a bad product. But, bro, it's just going to get worse, dude. I don't know if we're going to win another game, to be honest. I mean, like, if you really think about it, what makes me feel like we're going to win again? The only thing that makes me feel like we're going to win is they usually win when we're out. But they don't care. The team has checked out weeks ago. But, like, and now they have a bye week to reassess themselves and take a hard look at themselves. Like, now what? They're going to come out, guns blazing? Everything's going to change? For what? At least we have a kicker now. Joe Douglas's last move as a GM was to sign Andreas Carlson to the active roster. I mean, Joe Douglas was showing up for work every day, probably miserable. And Woody's like, yeah, Joe, you're going to get fired eventually, so why don't you just go home now? He's like, you know what, Joe? What do you think Salah's thinking? You think Salah sent Douglas a text today? You think he FaceTimed him? They got you too now? Man, look at us. Look at us, man. Look what this team has done to us. I hope you guys are going to be checked in this offseason because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one. We got a whole new regime coming, fresh new culture. And I just hope that I don't care who we bring in. I just want that person to be successful, man. That's how I look at it. We're all going to have our own opinions of who we should get, but I invite every Jets fan to welcome whoever we bring in with open arms and just root for them and hope for the best, no matter who it is. Obviously, if they bring in someone that we're upset about, we can be upset about it. If they bring in someone that we're excited about, be excited about it. But at the end of the day, let's root for the guy, whoever it is. Let's root for this new GM and head coach pairing to be the guys. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's the only thing we can do at this point. It's the only thing we can do. Big Stick says, I think you should go hang out with the Ducks. I was actually hanging out with the Ducks literally as this news broke. I was on a walk at a nature preserve with you guys live. And then I ended it because my connection was unstable. Right when I ended the show, that's when the news broke. Crazy. Crazy. Defense definitely got worse after firing Saleh. Oh, yeah, it did. All right, prediction time. Is Aaron Rodgers the quarterback next season? Is he starting for the Jets week 1 next season? Is he or not? Right now. Not if you want. I'm not asking, do you want Rodgers? I'm asking, do you think Rodgers will be? Big difference. I know the question, if I asked, do you want Rodgers, it'd say, no, I don't want him. I know that. But do you think he will be the quarterback next season, starting week 1? Yeah, a lot of people think it's going to happen. Yep. Then who do you think we can freaking hire to pair up with Rodgers? Like, I don't know how you can judge, like, what coach is going to come in here? And the one thing I know about Aaron Rodgers is he is stubborn in his ways of it has to be his offense. Rodgers at this stage of his career is not going to learn a new offense. A big reason why he came to the Jets was because Nathaniel Hackett was here so he can run a very similar offense that he's been in for his entire life. So, like, hypothetically, we're not going to be able to hire Ben Johnson if Rodgers is staying. That's my point. We're not going to be able to hire one of those football minds if Rodgers is staying. The only guy that has the same football brain as Rodgers is Mike McCarthy, and no, I do not want him. So I'm just very curious, how are we going to find a coach that's going to pair with Aaron Rodgers? So that's why I think there's a chance that Rodgers doesn't return for that reason alone. Aaron, at this stage of his career, is not going to learn a new system. It's his system or nothing for him. He came to the Jets because he saw Hackett there. He's like, oh, if I go there, I don't need to learn a new system. That's a big deal. It's a bigger deal than some people think. Like, if you're a young quarterback, yeah, you can get a new system involved, but Rodgers is not a young quarterback. He's 40-plus years old. He's not going into a brand new system. He's going to make it his system, and his system has proven to be miserable this season. The Jets have been going all in. Dude, Joe Douglas has been making roster moves that is to win now. We have a lot of deferred money. The Jets are going to be in a very interesting spot because we have a lot of dead money that we're going to be eating for years of Rodgers' contract. A lot of restructured deals pushing money down the line. It's going to be wild, man. Oh, my God. We got back-to-back $10 super chats. Look at that. Ricardo Green with $10. Richie, I love, brother. Bills fans have be better. Rob Johnson, Alex Van Pelt, JP, Trent Edwards, EJ Manuel, Kyle Orton. We know pain. Yeah, you guys know the pain. You guys been through it. And look at that. Jets fans, if you have any hope, look at what the Bills had to go through themselves. It took all those people to get to Josh Allen. So if it has to be the story for us is Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh McCown, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and then the next guy to be the future, that's what it'll be. That's the story. Hopefully the best. Thank you, Ricardo. Christian with a super chat. Much love to you, man. Big fan of your content, bro. I just feel like we can never get out of this shit football purgatory. I just got tickets for next season in section 117. Hope we can get this thing right this offseason. Christian, appreciate the super chat, number one. And shout out to you for getting your season tickets. Because I know a lot of people are not going to be getting season tickets next season. But shout out to you, Christian. You're a real diehard fan, and I love you, man. I love that. I appreciate you, Christian. Thank you for the $10, and thank you for the super chat. As always, man, this is brutal. Jets fans have been through the ringer, man. We've been through it all. What's next in this step of this team? We'll see. We got a long time to talk about this stuff. A lot of time to talk about it all. And I'll just leave it with this, man. I have like a moment of silence of just like the loss of this team, the loss and the misery of the regime that was supposed to be so successful. We are going to be in cap misery for the next few years. We're going to be bringing in a brand new coach, a brand new GM, and they're going to try their best to pluck new people. Oh, my God. I don't even know what to think anymore. This team is making me mad. But the good news is I ain't going nowhere. Okay? I ain't going nowhere. Tell you that much. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to keep going live, reacting to news, talking about who we should get. But it's just really unfortunate that we're in November 19th right now, and this is what we're talking about, the firing of our GM. I really did not see this one coming. Luckily, I have you guys. Without you guys, I don't know. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very grateful to have a platform where I can go live and just talk with you guys and kind of just get through this together and react to it all and react to all this news. So I thank you all for tuning in. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to get out of here now. We're going to be live on the Huddle at 3 p.m. If you guys want to go check that out, because it's going to be me and TD Finns Talk and Dan Mitchell to give our first reaction. We'll get their reaction to this news because obviously you heard mine. So definitely go check out the Huddle today, folks. That's going to be a lot of fun to see what the idea is. And look at the wow, look at the title. Look at what the title is of the Huddle episode. I didn't make this title. Dan Mitchell made the title. Dan Mitchell made this title. Look at this. Look at what the title is for the show after the commercial. Guys, look at this. Look at what Dan Mitchell made the title. The Jets are imploding. Yeah, we are. Thanks, Dan. So, that's going to be today in an hour and a half or so. I just put the link in the chat. If you guys want to go pull up, hit the like button, subscribe to BetUS TV. We're live there daily at 3 p.m. And the Jets are imploding, according to Dan. So we're going to hear that over there on BetUS TV's The Huddle. See you guys over there. Episode 191. Damn. Miserable. I will see you guys over there. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you on The Huddle. Peace out, folks. Thank you for all the super chats. And we got a long way to go, chat. Thank you for all the super chats. We had 18 super chats today, man. 18 super chats. That's awesome. So, Jets, we fired Joe Douglas. Let's see what's next. Much love to you guys. Peace.